So, Amy, you and I have reinvented ourselves.
Yes.
And in the past 14 years, we have both gone from working for somebody else to figuring out how to launch our own business. And I'm going to get to your story in a minute, but I want to put something into context for everybody. Guys, I first started making money online 5 years ago.
5 years ago. That was like yesterday.
And I was 49 years old, Amy.
Okay, I love to hear this.
If this old dog can figure out how this internet thing works and how to like march toward my curiosity about it and how to learn this stuff.
Yes.
I mean, there are people, everybody out there who are way stupider than you, making way more money than you because they stopped and they paid attention to what we're about to tell you today. You can do this. And Amy is living proof. She has taught 50,000 students, more than 50,000 students, how to take even, like you even start with people who are like, I have no idea what I want to do.
Absolutely no idea. Yes.
That's
and
crazy
they
to me.
figure it out and create incredible businesses. They blow their own minds.
Without any business experience.
Absolutely.
And why did you want to help people do this? And what do you want the person listening right now as they're driving to a job that they hate, or they're taking a walk in a neighborhood that they wish they didn't live in, or they are unemployed, they've been laid off, they're beating themselves up. What do you want to tell them they are going to get out of this conversation today?
I want them to know that there's an entirely new world waiting for them. They don't even know what's possible yet for their future. And it's not inside a cubicle or commuting to a 9-to-5 job. There's a whole other world out there that you can take as your own. And the reason I know that is because that is my own story 14 years ago. So because it was a new world to me and I ran with it, now I help other people do the same.
Okay, so you've got a world-class expert here that has held the hands of 50,000 people, and these 50,000 plus students that she has taught everybody. They are no more smarter than you. They are no more qualified than you. They simply were in the position that you're in right now, where they bumped into this conversation and it had them experience a whole different possibility for their life.
Yes.
And that's my mission. My mission is to wake your ass up. My mission is to have you flush that stupid shit you're telling yourself that you're too young. Oh, I'm just great. I don't have anything to offer anybody. How can I make money online? Bullshit. You're actually tech native. Of course you could do this if you change your mindset. Oh, but Mel, I'm not 49. I'm 60. How am I going to do this? You're going to do this by stopping that bullshit that's spewing out of your mouth and getting serious about listening to two women. She has made $85 million in the past 14 years teaching people how to do this. And you want to know why I'm saying that number? Because I'm damn proud of her. And I also think if you put your head down and you listen to what some expert like Amy is about to tell you, and you pick up her book and you read the blueprint, you can figure this out too. This is about teaching yourself something new. It's about telling yourself something different. And that's what we're going to do. And I want to tell you a quick story about how perspective changing things can be. And then we're going to hear your story, Amy. So I remember when I was in law school, right?
Yeah.
I grew up in a teeny tiny town in Michigan. And then I go to college in a teeny tiny town in New Hampshire.
Okay.
And I was sort of like your meat and potatoes kind of gal. I was not the biggest experimental eater like I am now. And I remember one of my really good friends, shout out to Sydney, she was a super cool lady and she grew up in Providence, Rhode Island, and she was multicultural family, like super cool. And I remember she invited me to leave the campus, the law school campus, and go into Boston.
Okay.
To this restaurant called Jay's. And her boyfriend, who was older, was going to take the two, law school students with no money out. And it was a Thai restaurant. And I had never been in a Thai restaurant before. And so we sit down. I had no idea what to order. And so they just order the pad thai. When this thing arrived in front of my, plate there, when this
What'd
plate
you think when you saw that pad thai that you'd never seen before?
I was like, what the hell is the eggs and chicken and shrimp and these noodles? And it's like pasty, tacky, weird texture and peanuts and bean sprouts. So I just shoveled a fork in and I just took a bite. It was like a unicorn in my mouth. It was the most delicious thing I had ever. And I had this thought, there is an entire world I have been missing out on because I just didn't know. I just didn't know.
Yes.
And that is what this conversation's about. It's like a pad thai for your career. There is a whole world that you have not considered as seriously as I want you to, because you just didn't know. Like, I didn't know you could make money online. You know, Amy's the kind of person that knows how to tap into that confidence that is inside you to make a pivot. And I know that reinvention is a hot topic. Our project on Audible, Reinvent Your Life with Mel Robbins, is #1 on Audible. Everybody is feeling this need to change something about their lives. And when you take your career and your ability to make money into an entirely different level, it's extraordinary how that impacts your life. And Amy has been able to not only teach herself how to do that, but to teach so many other people how to do that, how to find financial freedom, how to get control of your time, how to create a life where you get to work when and where and with whomever you want to work. And do not tune this out. This is possible for you. I don't care what your life looks like right now. This is possible for you. And that's why I wanted Amy to sit here and give you a zero-cost masterclass in thinking differently and taking control of your freaking life starting today. So Amy, what was your pad thai moment in your career?
My pad thai moment was 14 years ago. I was working for peak performance coach Tony Robbins, and I had an amazing job. I was the director of content, traveling the world, working on the content that he did on stage. However, I didn't realize in that moment that I had never been free. And here's what happened. Tony brought in a bunch of business owners to the San Diego office. They happened to be all men, and they were making money online. And so he brought them into this office. It was this big oak table, and I was called in to take notes. So
okay. So first of all, were you annoyed by that?
Well, it was kind of common for the content department to take notes. But yeah, there's a little bit of me like, I want to be in the action. I want to be doing the things. But yeah, I was on a side table.
Oh, so you were not even at the big table with the boys.
No.
You were on the side,
I was on the side
taking the notes.
Yes.
Okay.
So here I came into this meeting, but thank God I did, because here's what happened. I started to take notes, and these guys started to talk about their businesses, what they do, what life looks like, what their lifestyle is, what their family life looks like. Like, they were really talking about their whole experience as business owners. And all of a sudden I realized, wait a second. They're working when they want, where they want, how they want. They're creating these amazing products. They're being as creative as they want to be. They're on their own time and on their own dime. And I realized I have never been free. I have never been my own boss. I will always hit a glass ceiling. I will always have to ask for a raise, always have to ask if I could take vacation. I was not the boss of my own life or my business. And in that moment, a light bulb went off, and I thought, I want it. I have no idea what they're doing. I don't know how to do any of it, but I want it. And so that was the moment for me. But the next thing that happened was this flood of doubt. And I looked to my friend who was in the meeting with me, and I said, I have no skill where I could be my own boss. I know nothing that I could be my own boss.
I want to stop right there, because I think this moment where you're sitting in a meeting and you experience something.
Yeah.
This like wake up call happens in your body. And I've had a moment like that. It's way bigger than a pad thai moment.
Yeah.
I was sitting in an audience, and I was at an Oprah Winfrey, like kind of one of these live your best life tours. This would have been a decade ago, decades ago, actually, probably 2 decades ago at this point. And I was there because I was networking to try to get clients for my life coaching business. I had just started this on the side. I was working full time, doing business development for a advertising agency in the big tech kind of bubble that happened in the early 2000 timeframe. And on the side, I was trying to build a business as a life coach, full of doubt. So I go to this Oprah Winfrey concert. It was actually it was like an event that she held, a one-day summit to like live your best life. And so I'm sitting in the big audience, and Oprah's on stage, and then she introduces this woman that I'd never heard of. Her name was Martha Beck. And Martha Beck walks out, and I don't even remember what the hell she said. I had never heard of her. I had no clue what she did. But she started talking, and there was something inside of me that was like, I want that. And it was the same thing you're talking about, which is this taste I've never thought about the word free. Because there I was actually, I had lied to my employer. I had taken the day and I had told them I was somewhere else and I had gone to this thing for myself.
Yeah.
And so here I am completely out of integrity, getting paid by somebody else to sit in a place where I'm prospecting for my side hustle that hasn't even launched yet. And I realized when she walks on the stage, holy shit, that's what I want. And I didn't even know what that meant. I just knew that I wanted the freedom that she seemed to have. She was writing books. She was clearly writing for Oprah. She had written her first book. She was now talking about that first book on a stage. I didn't know what I would write about. I didn't know what I would speak about. I was scared to think
Yes.
about being on that stage. That is the moment. And so I want to hit pause and I want to talk to the person, you, right now listening to us. I want to talk to you because I need you to start to pay attention to those moments. You don't have to have the answers to change your life. You have to have that moment where you go, I want something more for myself. And what I wanted to be able to go to an event without lying to my boss. Well, I could have just not lied, but you know what I mean. I wanted to be able to go to an event because I was going to go to an event. I wanted to be able to work when I wanted to work, but I did not know how the hell do you go from that moment to knowing what the hell the right next step is? Because you're right. What happens next is, well, you're dumb. You got nothing to offer. You're this, you're that. Like, how did you go from, okay, there's all these dudes sitting around the table. I'm basically the secretary, no offense to secretaries, in the corner. And
Right.
I am sitting here being exposed to something that I'm not part of this club.
Yes. So the first thing, all those doubts came rushing in. And then I learned something a long time ago that if you're watching someone do something and you feel a little bit jealous, like,
Yep.
look what they have, or angst around it, which I had, like, I wanted what they had, even though I didn't totally get it. Whenever you have a feeling of jealousy or angst or you want it, ask yourself, what do they have that you want? Like, get really clear. What is it about their life that you think is so attractive or you'd like to go through it? Because I had to get clear about what I wanted. And in that moment, I thought, they get to be their own boss. Like, that's what they have that I have never had. So I think clarity in terms of what you want is the first big step. You talk about that a lot. What do you want? And so once I got clear on, I don't want a job anymore, I want to call the shots, then I had to start thinking, what would I do? Because I had no clue. So for the next few months, I kind of went through this process that now I teach called the sweet spot, which is figuring out what might you want to do.
Wow. Okay. I am so excited to go through this with you. I cannot wait to send this to approximately 100 people because I feel like I have those kind of epiphanies probably once a week.
Yes.
Even if you look at me or you look at Amy and you're like, they got it all figured out. I still have these wake up calls all the time.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
we just had one yesterday where we were
We
talking about, wouldn't it be nice to be able to support other female entrepreneurs with investment money? Like, maybe we should step into like starting an investment fund. And we both looked at each other and we're like, well, I don't know how to do that. I don't either, but we kind of feel interested. So that's sort of the moment we're talking about. And I want to give the audience a real range, okay, of scenarios where you could have this wake up call, because I feel like for those of you that are in your 20s and 30s that listen to this podcast, you're probably part of the demographic that looks at everybody that is an influencer or a YouTuber, or they are travel bloggers, or they are now starting their line of supplements, or they are doing exercise videos, and you're now streaming exercise videos from somebody who's largely your age. And you have this thing where you're like, wow, I'd really like to do that. What Amy and I are here to tell you is that is the power moment. That is the eye-opening moment. That's it. That awakening is the only thing you need in order to pivot your life in a new direction. Because we are lucky enough, and Amy's going to talk about this, to live in a world where if you want to create an online exercise studio, if you want to take your catering business or your grandmother's tomato sauce that everybody compliments and start selling it, you can figure out how to do it, but you have to honor the wake-up call.
Yes.
You have to honor this thing inside you, because Amy's right. How many times have you seen somebody you're jealous of, or you've had this moment of inspiration and you've been like, nope, not going to happen for me? And so I want you to know that that's takeaway number one. That takeaway number one is that wake-up call is going to change your life if you're willing to look for it and if you're willing to hit the pause button when it happens. Now, for those of you that are like, yeah, okay, so I don't want what my life currently looks like. That's enough.
Yes.
So talk to me about this thing that you walk people through.
Yes. So it's called the sweet spot formula.
Okay.
And I developed it because it's essentially what I did to leave my last 9-to-5 job and start this business. And it has 4 quadrants. We'll walk them through the 4 quadrants, okay? This first quadrant of the sweet spot is, what are you good at? What do people always say? Like, how do you do that? That comes so easy to you, because what comes easy to you does not come easy to everybody else. Where have you gotten results? Where have you gotten results in your personal life or your business life? So maybe you're an accountant and you do really good in your job. So you have all these skills that could absolutely translate into your own business. But maybe you don't want to be an accountant, but at home, you're really good at getting your picky eater, your toddler, to eat everything. And other moms are like, how do you get your kids to eat all these vegetables? What are you doing? And you have all of these little secret things you do. That could be a business. So start looking around. But here's the beauty. You only need a 10% edge. When people start to think about, what might I do in a business? Oh, I need more education. I need certification. I need more time. You don't need any of that. You already have a business in you. 10% edge. You need to be 10% ahead of those that you want to help and serve.
So funny. I just talked to my husband about this.
Yeah.
So Chris is, the founder of this men's retreat, Soul Degree, and he's starting this online huddle, a 9-month-long program. And he's like, I don't think I'm ready. I don't have it all figured out. I said, dude, you need to be one training ahead of everybody else. That's all that you need to be. And I think that that's kind of one of those things that gets us in the way. Almost every single human being in the past 3 years has had some kind of reset button hit, where you've gotten very clear that maybe the way that you've been doing life, it's not really what you want anymore. And so we're going to focus today on your ability to be your own boss.